Greetings. In this video, we are going to see about stress, which has become a simple word that is used by every people in every day. So, what is stress? So, we use the term stress every day. Do we know what is actually stress? We say, I feel stressed. Even a little boy or a girl will say that he or she is feeling stressed. So, what is that stress? So, stress is the response of the body to any demand placed on it. So, if there is any work given to us, our body respond to it in a particular way, and that response can be called as stress. For example, every person will have the ability, and the society is placing a demand on the person. So, if the ability is less but the demand is very high, then the person faces stress. Example, 99% result in exams is expected by the parents, but the individual has the capacity, has the ability to score only 70% in the exams, then that particular person will face stress. So if the a family demands a person that he should spend at least 5 hours with the family, but the person is able to spend only 2 hours with the family, then that is stress. So in short, we can say that if the demand is high and the ability is low, then the person faces stress. It is the difference between the demand and ability. When we look about stress, it is very important to know about general adaptation syndrome. So it is given by Hans and Seil in 1956. It has three different stages. Every individual will face stress at that particular time. Every individual will go through these three different stages. First stage is alarm reaction. For example, if we consider the stress to be a foreign agent or a virus or a bacteria, then our body will have an alarm reaction. Alarm reaction in the sense our body will become active and will search for the foreign agent. And the second step is a resistance. It will start fighting against the foreign agent, that is the bacteria or the virus. And the third stage is stage of exhaustion. After fighting for a longer period of time, our body will get worn out. So that particular stage is exhaustion stage. So every individual will face stress, and every individual will face the stress in through this three different stages. So type of stress. We saw what is stress. That is the demand is high and the ability is low. Then the person faces stress. But there are different types of stress, and one such classification is acute and chronic. So acute stress is a stress that occurs for a shorter period of time. If the stress is only for 10 minutes, or if the stress is only for 3 hours, then it is acute stress. So if I say 3 hours, you can think about your examinations. So examination is mostly for 3 hours, and that particular 3 hours can be very stressful to you. That is acute stress. Chronic stress. Chronic refers to a longer period. So chronic stress is a stress that stays within the person for a longer period of time. Both of these stress um, can be harmful. So for example, if the acute stress is continuous and is occurring recurrently, then it can be harmful. Chronic stress, it stays in the person for a longer period of time. If it affects the daily routine, then it can be a matter of concern. And another classification about stress is eustress and distress. Eustress is a positive stress and distress, it is a negative stress. So positive stress in the sense it is for the growth and development, and distress, it is not going to help a person to get developed. So we have seen two categorization of stress. One particular type of stress was based on the time duration. If it is for a shorter time period, it was called acute stress. If it is for a longer period, it is chronic stress. And the another type of uh, stress, the classification of stress was based on the impact that creates eustress. It is for the development of an individual. Distress, that particular stress is not going to help the individual in any way. So in a glimpse, the first picture, it is a ride in an amusement park. So that particular stress will be for a very shorter duration. It is not going to continue once the persons end the rides. And the second one is eustress marriage. It is a part of everyone's life and it is for the betterment. So it is a eustress, it is a positive stress. A third one is acute stress. Acute stress examination, as I said earlier, exams can be very stressful, but it will be stressful only for a shorter period of time, only during writing the exams or the day before the exams we feel stressful, and after that it will disappear. So it is a acute stress. And distress, if that is a death of someone who is very loved to us, then we feel distress. And chronic stress, if there is a medical ailment, example, if a person is suffering from a heart problem for a longer period of time and that particular person has to be hospitalized, then that person, even the family members, might face a chronic stress, which is a stress that is for a longer period. And eustress, the pregnancy is a eustress. Even getting promoted in a job is a eustress, that is a positive stress. So from this we can say that stress is not at all always negative. Even stress can be positive sometimes. So getting promoted is a positive one, but the demands, the responsibilities can be high. So the person might feel stressed to face that particular demands and responsibilities. Stressor. A stressor is a situation or event that causes us to feel stressed. So, for example, if you are feeling stressed and the reason is getting up late in the morning or not having a food, that is the stressor. The situation or event which causes you to face stress is called as stressor. A stressor can be an internal one or it can be an external factors like our environment or the people surrounding us, or it can be internal. There are different types of stressors: academic stressor, environmental stressor, personal stressors, social stressors. So, a stressor is a situation or a event that causes you to feel stress, and that particular stressors are classified into four different ones: academic, environmental, personal, and social stressors. So, we are going to see the examples of the various stressors. So academic stressor are grade in the sense marks, are language problems, procrastination, that is delaying things to do, exams, missing classes, internal self esteem. Sorry. These are all the academic stressors. For example, if a person who scores above 90 has suddenly scores below 70 or something, that person will feel stress. If there is examination, then the students will face stress. If there is procrastination, for example, if an assignment was given in the beginning of a semester and the student was not working on it, and only the student tries to work on it on the day of submission or one day before the submission, then the student will face stressful. So procrastination is an academic stress. And if you look into environmental stressor, then it is the change in the environment. If you are a person from South India, but your job placement is in North India, in the initial days of your settlement, you feel stressful. It might be due to the adjustment in the living place, or it could be due to the change in food patterns, anything. Even if you are shifting to abroad, then there will be a change in the environment and you might feel stressful. The third stressor is personal stress. If there is a change in the sleep pattern, if there is a financial problem or a health issues, or you need to take up new responsibilities, you will feel stressful. It is not compulsory for a person to feel stressful for all these stressors, because every individual is unique and some might feel stressful while others might not face stress. But it is just the common stressors. And the social stressor is relationship. If there is a problem in the relationship, then the person might feel stressful. It is because of the stressor, which is the relationship. So, what are the symptoms of stress? Aches and pains. Sometimes we might feel that it is paining somewhere near the collarbone, or we feel aches pain in our body parts. Then it is a sign that you are feeling stressful, or it can be an internal stress also, chest pain or a feeling like your heart is racing. If you are given a surprise test, you might feel that your heart is racing, or when you are asked to go for a ride in an amusement park, then your heart will start racing. It is one of the symptom of stress. And exhaustion or trouble in sleeping. If there is an exam tomorrow and you are afraid of it, you might face trouble in sleeping. It is a symptom. Headache, dizziness, or shaking, high BP, muscle tension. Sometimes we feel that our muscles are too stiff. It happens when you are stressed. Stomach or digestive problems. The persons who undergo stress often will surely have digestive problems. They feel a problem in getting their food digested and also the nutrients being absorbed by their body. And the immune system will become weakened. The person who undergoes stress often will have a weakened immune system, while others who faces the stress in a positive manner, their immune system might be good. So why should one worry about stress? So as I said earlier, stress is a very has become a very common one, which can be faced by any person ranging from a smaller child to an elderly person. Then why should we worry about stress? These are the reasons why one should worry about stress: anxiety, depression, and panic attacks. If a person is facing stress for a longer period of time, but the person is not caring about it, or is not seeking any help from someone outside or from their friends or anyone, then that particular person might face anxiety or depression or panic attacks in the near future. So it is very important to worry about stress. But if it is an acute stress, if it is for only a shorter duration of time, then the person might not feel worried about the stress. But if it is for a longer period of time, it is of a concern. Even eustress, it is of concern, even though it is very positive. But if you're facing stressful for a longer period of time, you should seek help. So stress management stress cannot be prevented, because it has to be faced and it has become a part of our life. So but it can be managed very well. That it can be managed very well in the sense, it can be managed both positively and negatively. It is up to the person to choose a positive or negatives. The negative way of coping is not at all encourageable. A positive way of coping is a betterment. It not only helps the person to face stress in a positive way, but also it helps the person to get developed. So a person has to face the stress or manage the stress in a positive way. The first way of management is a positive reinterpretation and growth. If a situation is making a person to feel stressful, then the situation can be interpreted in a positive way. For example, if a situation is making the person stressful, then the person can think that this particular situation is going to make the person become a better person in the future, or that particular situation is for the growth of that person. And if the person is facing the stress in a positive way, then it is good. Venting of emotion. Venting in the sense, it is about expressing or pouring out our emotion. Pouring our emotions out is a good way to deal with stress. Religious coping. Religious coping, the person can be from any religion, and the person can seek help from their religion. And substance use, it is a negative way of coping, using of substances, alcohol, drugs. It helps the person to face the stress or manage the stress, but it is a negative way of stress. It is going to degrade the health of the person, and also um, it is not at all going to help the person to grow. Next is exercise. Regular exercises can help the person to manage the stress. Involving in other activities. For example, if college education is making the person to feel stressed, then the person shift their focus from college education to other extracurricular activities. It might help the person to face stress at that particular point of time, but still the stress will be there. So it is not much of a positive way of coping. Acceptance. Accepting the situation or accepting the event, that it has to happen, and the person has to move on, and the person has to face the stress. Social support, seeking help from friends or seeking help from healthcare professionals. It is a positive way of coping. If the individual is not able to face the stress on herself or himself, then it is okay to ask help from someone. Humor. Humor, it is not a very positive way of coping, because it is making fun of the situation and just diverting their mind, and not actually facing the stress and managing it. Denial. Example, there is a death of a loved one, and the person is not able to accept the death, and the person is in denial, thinking that person is still alive. It might give pleasure to the person for that moment, and the person has to face the truth at one particular point of time. So denial is even a negative way of coping. So it is up to the person to choose or which way is suitable for that particular person to manage this stress, but it is always encourageable to use the positive way of coping and not the negative way of coping. Thank you.